Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen. Does everybody have everybody got Woody up on their in their silhouette? You know, you have to hopefully all you have to do is just copy paste them. But if not, you can you know, import him and then bring him in. So with that being said, can everybody see my screen? Okay. And what we'll do is we'll go ahead and we'll utilize the kind of raise your hand function. All right. That way we won't talk over one another. And so if you have a question, you can just raise your hand. I'm going to be trying to look at the screen as well and see if I see any frown faces or anything like that, or if people don't seem to be following along, and I might just stop and call on you or whatever. You can unmute yourself and we can go from there. But anyway, so here's our Woody. Everybody got Woody? All right. So right now, Woody is in he's in a JPEG format. He's like, you can see, he's all one thing. You can see he's got a white background behind him. I grabbed him off of the internet, and I want to turn Woody into a rhinestone template. But before I can turn Woody into a rhinestone template, I have to first turn this image into an SVG. And everybody understand what an SVG is? SVG stands for Scalable Vector Graphic. And so in order to do that, what we're going to do is we're going to use the trace function. Everybody know how to use the trace function in Silhouette? If you don't, you know, just not shake your head or whatever. I can see you on in the window. But if not, I don't see anybody shaking their head. Let me move this out of the way. Hold on a second. So, you know, in order to access the trace panel, you over here on the right hand side of the screen, we're going to go to this little icon over here that looks like I say it looks like a piece of toast. Some days it looks like a butterfly, but anyway, it's the 1, 2, 3, 4. What's that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 icon down from the top. So I'm going to click on the trace panel, and I'm going to I'm going to click the button that says select trace area. When we do that, we're going to go ahead and we're going to draw a box. So we're going to click and drag and draw a box around the image. And then when we let it go, the system is going to perform the trace. Now, most of you already know, hopefully you know this, that, you know, Silhouette already has a default kind of trace limit. And typically when it finishes the trace, it usually is pretty decent. Sometimes, depending on what type of image you're working on, you may have to turn your threshold up, or you may have to turn your threshold down to capture or remove different parts of the image. But in this particular instance, I'm looking at this trace, and this is a pretty decent trace. We've got nice solid yellow all the way around, all of the outline of the image. And so I'm pretty happy with that. And so what I'm going to go ahead and do is click the trace button here at the bottom and go ahead and perform the trace. So now that the machine has traced the image, I'm going to drag our graphic and just kind of put him off there to the side because we don't need him anymore. And so now we're left with a trace of our Woody. Okay. Right now, it's just the one image. It's not separated or anything. It's just the one image, just like it was in the graphic. So what I want to do now is I want to go ahead and I want to highlight this image, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to right click and I'm going to release the compound path. Does everybody understand what release the compound path means? Anita, you good? Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to release the compound path. And, you know, when that happens, then you're going to get all of the individual pieces of the graphic all separated. And this is, so right now when I'm looking at this, I see this little piece here in his mouth area, this little circle right here. We don't necessarily need that to be part of our rhinestone template, nor do we need it to be part of the SVG if that's what we wanted to create. So when everybody released the compound path, do they have that little circle? You do? Okay. You see it, Anita? Okay, so then let's just go ahead and just delete it because we don't need it. Okay, I'm not going to work with that. The other thing that I'm looking at in this particular graphic, I'm saying, you know, do I need it or not? Is this piece right here in his beak area? That's not necessarily going to make or break our rhinestone template, right? Probably cause more problems than it's worth to try to turn that one little thing into a stone. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to delete that as well because I don't need it. So I'm going to delete that. So now, what we have is we have several pieces. We have this back layer, which is, you know, kind of like the part of the offset of the image here. Okay. And then we have all of the other individual components of this graphic. And right now I'm going to go ahead and put that piece back. If we just, you know, drew the box around, you know, the whole thing and opened up the rhinestone panel and clicked on the edge fill, we would have a, you know, a pretty okay start of a rhinestone design, right? But, you know, that doesn't look very appealing. As you can see, we've got some stones that are overlapping and so forth. And so we want to go ahead and clean this up. So I'm going to stop for just a minute because I see that Crystal has her hand raised. So I'm going to go ahead. Crystal, go ahead and unmute yourself.
Tanya,
Yes, ma'am.
are you sharing your screen?
Uh-huh.
I can't see it.
It says I'm sharing. Anybody else see my screen?
What
Right
do
now I have my Woody turned on with my edge fill.
what do I have that I can't see it? Because all I see is you. I can't see your screen. What am I supposed to click on then?
Well, you shouldn't have to click on anything because when I go ahead and start sharing my screen, everybody who's on should automatically start seeing what I'm showing. So I'm going to stop sharing for just a minute, for just a moment, so I can get you all back on. Okay, so now I'm going to, I'll start that again, and let's just see if there was a little glitch of some sort. Okay.
Okay.
I'm going to go back. I'm going to start share my screen. Oh, my silhouette window and say share.
Okay, there it is. Thank you. I can
You're
see it.
welcome. Okay. So did you follow along though? Did you go ahead and do your trace while I was talking?
Yes, I got the trace and I got the little circle that was on the tongue. I got that off.
You got all of that off. Okay.
Mhm.
So like I said, so basically right now, like I said, you know, this could be a rhinestone template if we want it to be, but we want to make it we want to define it out some more. And so what we have to do is we have to go in and we have to create, you know, all of these the pieces to that we're going to work with. And so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to turn the effect off so that we just go back to the line. So I'm going to click on it. Oops, I'm going to click on everything and turn it back. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I am going to use the modify panel, and I'm going to start slicing parts of this image, this graphic out of this back offset kind of piece that we have back here. Okay. So let me just do an undo, get it all squared away. And sometimes, like if I do the whole thing, sometimes Silhouette has this thing where it'll tell you that it can only like divide so many pieces at a time. I'm gonna see what happens if I try to divide now. It's gonna take it a minute. The more pieces you try to do at one time, the longer it takes. So a lot of times when I'm working, I'll do them individually. But I wanted to show you this just so that you'll know if you select a lot of pieces, you know, if time is of the essence and you don't want to wait for the system to render everything. You can do it individually, but I'm gonna just go ahead and, since it's already fairly moving quickly, go ahead and let it continue to divide these pieces from the back layer of that of the design. Mm. Now that I'm thinking about it, I should have did something else, because I just thought about what Jackie had said with her image when she tried it, and she said, my eyes don't look like yours, Tanya. And I remembered that I had gone in and had what I had done, Jackie, was I took the circles that were there, the little small circles, and I enlarged them to make it bigger. And then what I did was cut that out. I did divided it so that I would have that piece, and then created that inset. And that's why my circles eye look different than yours. But I'll try to do it. I'll see if I can still do it, since I didn't do it. I may have to go back, but I apologize. Sometimes when I'm working and you get designs kind of like this one that are not a little bit more intricate, I kind of have to walk myself and kind of talk myself through the process. And sometimes I have to go back and figure out what I did wrong and rethink it through. But typically, this is the same process you'll do for any design that you bring in from the internet, any graphic that you decide to bring in. If you want to turn that design into a rhinestone template, you're going to perform your trace, and then you're going to use some of these tips and tricks to create the pieces that we'll individually work with, that will give us our final rhinestone template. So if you notice, after I did the divide feature, you notice how it's like the lines kind of look a little bit more red than they did before, right? They look just a little bit more red. And the reason that is because now, if I drag a piece, see if I drag his mohawk here, I forget what you call that. But anyway, now we have this separate piece, and this is a separate piece. And this is, oops, sorry. This piece is now a separate piece. Let's see, this is a separate piece. The tongue here became a separate piece. And then his eye, this eye, one eye up here. And I just drag these pieces out of the way. We're gonna use them later. But now if we went in here and we clicked on it and we turned on the kind of turned it in. So now it kind of looks up, and the eyebrow up. Okay, so that piece, you see that piece right there? That piece did not get part of the divide feature, right? When we divided the image, that piece got left out, because see how we don't have the, it didn't cut out. So I'm going to click it and hold my shift key and click this part of the image over here, and go back to the modify panel and click divide, and see if that, and maybe the reason why is because, okay. Oh, I see why. Everybody see right there? You see, because that piece was part of his hair. You see over here in this piece, you see that piece that's right here where my arrow is? It cut it out. It cut it out of that piece right there. See, if I move this out, I'm gonna move this eyebrow out of the way. And when I bring this piece back, this right here, you see the eyebrow? Everybody see that? If I click on it and I turn the rhinestone effect on, you'll see that it will try to outline that eyebrow piece. That makes sense, everybody?
Yeah. So we divide or subtract all?
Sometimes you divide and sometimes you subtract all. What in this particular instance, I want to divide the pieces because I want to keep the pieces. Okay. If I didn't
Okay.
want to keep the pieces, I could do a subtract, and when you do a subtract, it'll subtract away everything. But I wanted to keep the pieces because we need these pieces.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm gonna put that back, and then we have this little piece right here. So
So
now,
I'm sorry, quick
no, go ahead.
question. So it all, I guess it all depends on the images, whether you divide or subtract all.
It does. Like, if you were doing an image and you wanted to, like, kind of like, you know how when you create an offset and you want to knock out that part of the image behind the what you created the offset for, you might
Uh-huh.
would go in and you would do a subtract in that instance, because then you're going to place that other piece in there, right?
Mm-hmm.
But in this particular instance, I want to keep these pieces, and so I don't want them to get I don't want it to subtract away any parts of that part of the image. Like, let's go back. Let's see. You know what? I'll just show you. I'm gonna go back. Okay, so now I've gone all the way back. Uh-oh. My image is still. Okay, so now I'm back to my original. Oh, nope. Wait a minute. Okay, yeah, here we are. Okay, so now I'm back to my original image after I released the compound path, right? So I'm back
Mm-hmm.
here at the part. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to delete. I don't need this, so I don't want that. And I'm going to delete this part out of his beak. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of all those. Don't need those things. If I had, let's see what happens. If I go ahead and, well, first of all, I'm going to do this. Let me turn this line and make him black. Oh. I don't want to do that. And the reason that happened is because I released the compound path, right? So now remember, like I said earlier, this back piece is kind of like that offset piece. So when I made it all black, it made this part all black as well. But let's just say I'm going to drag the box again around all of the pieces and go open the modify panel and click subtract all. And in this particular instance, it looks like it did the same thing as our divide feature, which is good, right? So sometimes, like I said, sometimes you can do so here's our little mohawk piece. And so it did the same thing, which is good. Sometimes I use the divide feature and it does something that I don't want it to do. So then I'll go back and use either I'll use subtract or I'll use divide, depending on what I'm looking for. But this did the both, but what I don't want is this. This is what I did. Okay. So I know I did something with these circles. Like I said, I made these bigger to fit in this spot. I think that's what I did. Okay, I'm gonna make this hold on. Give me a minute. Give me a minute. Give me a minute.
Why you keep saying my seed?
Okay.
You mean my bad? You keep doing it.
So basically so the feature worked the same whether I did the divide or I did the subtract. So everybody should have can move all of their pieces out of the way. So what's we have left here, like I said, we won't need this eyebrow piece because it gave us the eyebrow piece over here in the mohawk. And we'll try and use that instead. So we have that, and now I think I moved the mount there. I moved that. So the only thing I left here were the eyes. And I believe what I did was I made the eye bigger. So everybody try work. Oops. Get rid of the, hold on a second. Let me go back. Okay. I'm going to grab this eye and I'm going to make him, well, I'm getting two pieces of an eye. Get that one. Oh, that's the piece that got, okay. All right, I don't want that. I can fix that though. But what I want you to do is I want you to kind of bring out that little circle. We'll go back and fix this other piece in a minute, but it's kind of make it about, not about the same size as the eye opening, you know, kind of like how I have it here, you know, not quite as big, but almost as big. Maybe rotate them a little bit. That might be a little bit too big because what'll happen is I want to give enough room so that when we turn the rhinestones on, we have some space for everything to fit. But everybody make an eye that kind of looks like this. Can you do that? Everybody do that? Just make an eye, take that circle and just enlarge it a little bit. And then we're going to do the same thing with the other one. It's a little bit more tricky, but you can just kind of enlarge it a little bit. It's going to be funny shaped, but that's okay. And just kind of see how it fits back into that spot. And then just kind of drag it off to the side. So now you have hopefully you have your two eyes. And if you don't, I'll wait for everybody to catch up and all your other pieces separated and moved out of the graphic. And I think, let's see, yep. Okay. So now let's see. I will do that. Okay. So now everybody go ahead and just click on their graphic and turn their line color to whatever color you want. I just turned mine to black. But you can go ahead and turn yours to whichever color you like.
Tanya,
Yes, ma'am.
I have, I guess when I released the compound path in the beginning, you look like you have way more pieces because once I start taking my stuff out, I don't have all these layers. It's like an empty circle.
What size was your graphic when you started? Was it small or did you enlarge it a little bit?
Whatever size it came in as, I never changed it.
Okay. Well, and sometimes what'll happen is, like I said, you know, when it's small like that, when you release the, you know, parts of the image, like I try to, and I should have said this earlier, like a lot of times what'll happen when I bring in a graphic, I'll go ahead and enlarge it, make it big, and then do my trace so that I get a good, you know, that when I go to release the compound path, hopefully there aren't pieces of the design that are touching one another, because then they'll be like all one piece. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen for a minute. I'm going to let you share your screen. Do you know how to do that?
I'm talking to you on my phone.
Oh, you're on your phone.
So
I
I'm
think
working on my computer, but wait, no, we can't do that.
well, you're talking to me on your phone, but you're on your computer, right?
Yes, correct.
So you have the Zoom up on your computer. You should be able to share your screen.
Okay, wait a minute. Give me a minute. Yeah, what happened?
Well, I stopped sharing mine so I can see you.
Okay.
And then I believe like on the bottom or somewhere along the toolbar, you may have a green button that says share screen.
I actually can't even find where my Zoom is because I don't know what happened. I think my storm is got my computer acting retarded today. It's okay. It's okay. Don't worry about it.
You sure?
Yeah, I'll figure it out.
Okay. Well, you know, sometimes what you can just go back. Just go back to the very beginning, right? Or just go ahead and bring the image in and just start all over again.
Okay.
Sometimes that's even easier than going all the way back to the beginning. Just start all over again. Okay. Bring your graphic in, size him up to about, you know, 9 inches or so, and then perform your trace again. And then after
Did
you
you make
perform
an outline? Did you do an outline? An offset?
Not yet.
Oh, okay. So no. Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then let us know where you once you when you caught back up.
Okay. You could go ahead, keep going.
All right, so I'm going to share my screen again. Okay, so now, we have our image and just kind of, like I said, this piece is not necessarily the piece that we would use to make the SVG because like I said, this is just one solid image. It's kind of like the image that we started with, but the pieces that we have here would be. So if I kind of bring him off to the side, I could start bringing these pieces back somewhat and piecing them back together to give us our Woody. And here are the little eye pieces that we made earlier, a little different than the ones that were with the original graphic, but I'm just gonna kind of bring that out a little bit. And the one last piece was the mouth here. And then they have this little eyebrow piece that was left over, but remember, it kind of divided it from the hair, so we really didn't need it. Okay, so here's our original, and here's our piece together. Everybody have something that similar that looks like that kind of put back together? And then at this point, you can just kind of go into the pieces. What we're gonna do, just try to line them back up a little bit, try to get him back the way he was. I like to use my arrow keys when I'm moving pieces because they a little bit more defined than trying to use the mouse. That little piece might be a little bit too big. I'll go ahead and make that a little smaller.
Have everything like you had except for that eyebrow.
You don't have an eyebrow, or you just didn't put the eyebrow back in?
It didn't, it happened just like yours. My eyebrow was in the hair and it was that long piece of eyebrow on Woody. So what did you do to subtract from that?
You mean, so when I did the divide feature earlier, when we did, it automatically, because the eyebrow piece was in there, it cut it out and it's part of his hair now. Like it's just an open space in there.
Oh, so just leave, excuse
Yeah.
me, so just leave it in the hair?
Uh-huh.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. We can just leave it as part of the hair. Now, how did that go?
Okay.
I'm still putting mine together, but I got some pieces that I don't know where I took them from.
You can't figure out where they go.
But I'm
That's
figuring it out.
Yeah, like I said, this, like I said, this one was a little bit more challenging. This is definitely a little bit more challenging than the one we worked with the week, it wasn't last week, but the week before, right? It kind of threw me for a little bit, but I kept playing with them and I finally got it. Y'all saw what I posted or whatever. But anyway, what pieces do you have that you can't get to? What do they look like?
I'm looking at your design. Well, I'm looking at what you put back together, so that'll help me. Oh, that's the tongue. Okay. That way it'll help me to
Figure out where it goes.
uh-huh.
All right.
I'm not seeing your screen again. Can you
Really?
slide yours over? Because I'm just seeing the gray part.
What do you see the gray part of?
I'm not seeing the whole Woody. I'm just seeing what you have on the side.
On the mat? So you see the
Yeah.
black outline pieces, you don't see the red line pieces?
I don't see the red line pieces because did you zoom in?
I'm zoomed in.
You zoomed in now, right?
Uh-huh.
Oh, can you zoom out some
Okay.
and then move your mat over? I'm seeing the gray part.
To the left or the right?
I guess it'd be to the left. Try to just
What happens if,
move
what do
over
you,
to the right. Try the others.
so I move to the left?
Keep
She might,
going.
she might need to adjust her screen because it was kind of perfect on mine until you started moving it just now.
Uh-huh.
Oh, but see, I'm on my phone, so
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Oh,
You don't have
That,
a slider on your phone?
let's
Move
see.
over.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I guess that was me. My bad.
that's okay. That's why we all here. We
Yeah.
all here. We learning together. We are learning this. We are learning together. But everybody, so at this point, does everybody get their Woody put back together? And if you haven't, then you need.
Oh, we got to put it back together.
Well, yeah, we want to put them back together a little bit. Otherwise, because what we're going to start doing now is we're going to start creating. We're going to create an offset, and then we're going to use our pieces to go ahead and create our internal offsets so that we can fit those pieces in. Well, before we do all of that, let's just first everybody get their Woody back together. Because now at this point, you know, like I said, if you wanted to make Woody into a vinyl, you know, or SVG or DTF or whatever, now you could do that, right? Because now you have all of the individual pieces all broken out. So we can go ahead and click on his hair and turn the hair red. And this was part of that circular outline we had before. And I had mine and I had turned it blue. So I'm just gonna go ahead and make that area blue. And we had this piece that was part of that circle area, right? I'm gonna make that blue. His beak here is probably gonna be kind of like an orangey kind of color, right? And then we got his tongue, and we can either make it red or pink. I guess I'll make it red. And this was part of his beak area right here. I'm gonna go ahead and turn that orange. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just go ahead and turn the back of my media matte black so that you guys can start seeing when I turn the white pieces. So that part of his eye, right? Go back in here, turn it white, turn the other part of the eye white. Uh-oh, clicked on the wrong thing. Click that piece, that one right there, turn it white, and there we go. So now we got Woody that could be a, you know, he's an SVG. And you could DTF this or sublimate it or do whatever you wanted with it, right? You've got a and I would, you know, this piece right here, these are the other pieces of the eye that I had created. You know, if you wanted, I don't know, I wouldn't turn them green. I guess you could turn them black. But you can't see them because of the thing. You might I don't know if I want to turn this outline of the line style and turn it white just so you could see it. But I don't know that you really need it. You know, I don't know that it really matters. I might would just turn it off because I think you could, as it stands right now, I think you could tell that that was just if I took that out, it wouldn't matter, right? That doesn't matter. So I'll go back. But now, so now that we've done that, right? You could save this part of the design. You could go ahead and save it as a PNG. You could save it as a SVG. Does anybody not have the business edition of Silhouette? Do you all have business edition? Okay, so have you so you know all you have to do is you would just, now if you were going to save this as a SVG file, the one thing I would say to you is to make sure that you only have the object on the mat that you want saved as a SVG, because any of these other things that left over here on the side, if we save this file now as a SVG and we try to go ahead and import it into Cricut, we would get that thing that said, "Woo, wow, this is a large file," and then it would bring in all of these pieces, and we don't necessarily need all of the other pieces as part of that SVG. So if you're saving something as an SVG, make sure that the only thing that you're saving as the SVG is whatever is on the design mat, that you don't have anything else left behind it. So a lot of times what I'll do is I'll zoom out so that I can see more and make sure that I don't have any hidden pieces. But barring that, there we go. So now I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna turn the mat back. I'll turn it off for a minute. Make it white. And just turn this back for a second. All right. So now I want to go ahead and I want to start turning this, into the rhinestone. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and I want everybody else, if they can, like I said, is to just go ahead and drag your box around all of your pieces and just go ahead and scale it up. And I'm going to go ahead and scale it up to whatever size you think you would want for your shirt. I'm probably going to go ahead and scale mine to, I'll probably scale it to about right now it says 9.79 inches wide, excuse me, by 10.607 inches in height. And you can either use those same measurements or you can come somewhere close in between. But, you know, go ahead and size it to where you want it to be, because at this point, you know, when we start working in the rhinestones, you know, when you start releasing rhinestones and such, you're going to be stuck. So you want to kind of go ahead and be where you want to be, if you can. One of the good things, though, is that you can sometimes, as long as you haven't released the rhinestones, you can work with your image with the rhinestone effect turned on so that you can see certain things and determine whether or not you need to go larger or you need to go smaller. Okay. But right now, like I said, I'm at 9.79 by 10.60. Everybody somewhere within that same range? You can just nod, let me know I can keep going. Okay. So
I got a
now,
question.
yes.
Okay, so you were saying how you could scale it. My question is, scaling it, of course, I know we could pull the boxes, but isn't it somewhere where if we wanted to make it exact, that we could type it in? Because I'm noticing I couldn't do that before.
So when you do that, in
Uh-huh.
order to make it exact, what you would have to do is you would have to drag your box around the entire image, right?
Right.
And then you have to group it.
Okay.
You have to group the whole thing together. And then once you group the whole thing together, you'll see that my width and height tool pieces came activated. And
Right.
now you could go in there, and if I wanted to say, okay, I want to make that 9.50. If I want the image to shrink in proportion with the width, then
Uh-huh.
all I have to do is hit enter and it will go ahead and size it. Or, you know, if you want to change the height and the width to be different from one another, you would just click the unlock here, and then you would change both the width and the height to whatever dimensions you wanted them to be.
Right.
But we want to keep the design perspective the same height and
Uh-huh.
width. So you only have to usually just change one and the other will follow. But
Okay.
you have
Thank
to
you
group
for
the
that.
whole thing together in order for you to be able to see that.
Okay, thank you for that. I was trying to figure it out, but that
Nope.
makes sense.
Okay. No problem. All right. So now let's see. So I'm at 9.5. I'll leave it right there. I'll leave it there. So we're at 9.5. So now what I want to do is now you could do one of two things. You could leave it like this. And we could create the rhinestone pieces, or if you wanted to create, because if we do this, let's say for instance, if I click the image, because right now it's still all grouped, and we went to the rhinestone panel and we clicked on the edge. Now we're probably going to have some of that same thing that happened the last time, but you could click on the edge and you see how we've got it put the rhinestones around the edges. If we click the linear, it'll go ahead and fill in all of those pieces, or, you know, we have the radial option that we could choose, right? But like I said, we've got where you can see where some of those stones are starting to overlap. And so how we're going to fix that is we're going to create the internal offsets of these individual pieces so that when we use the rhinestones, we have enough space between the outer edge of the rhinestone and the inner piece of the the inner piece, so that they don't overlap. Okay. If you want it, I'm going to turn this background black again so you can see. Say for instance, you could have it, and I'll go ahead and turn the line style off so we don't get the red lines around everything, make the image a little cleaner. Okay. And something didn't do right in here, but anyway, we'll fix this. But anyway, this is what it would look like. So if you like it like that, you could leave it like that, or we could create the offset that goes around it so that we can get a border that goes around the outside of the image. Is anybody interested in wanting to do that, or you want to just work with your image the way it is now? You can unmute yourselves. Just, I mean, you know, you can say, yay, you want to do an offset, or no, we can leave it like this. Let me hear a consensus of what people think.
I'd like to learn the offset piece of it.
Okay.
Yeah,
Everybody else
offset.
did, because that's, you know.
All right. And the good thing about that is that even if you do create the offset and you decide you don't want, then you just don't add it, right? You just don't have to cut that part of the, you can remove it, right? So with that being said, I'll go ahead and I'll turn this, my media back to white, and, or I think what I'll do is I'll just turn it a gray color so that we can still kind of see what's going on in the background. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit so that I can see and everybody can still see, hopefully. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back and I'm going to turn the rhinestone effect off, okay, so that you can see what I'm doing. And one of my pieces, one of my eyes got missing.
Mine did too. I think it's because when I took the line off.
Oh, where did it go? So your inner eye over there got missing too?
Both of my eyes.
Okay.
Both of the inner portion of the eyes.
The two pieces, so
Right, because I think
two little round pieces?
when I took the line off,
Uh-huh.
then that's when they disappeared. But
Okay. So
let me do that back on.
go back.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's just go back.
Let me put that back on.
Let's see if I can go back and see if I can find, yeah, where my eye went.
Yeah, there it is. It's when I took the line off because they weren't filled.
See, yeah, so here's mine. So you know what it was? It wasn't that it was gone. It was because I turned the line off, and so I couldn't
and
see
it wasn't
anymore.
filled. Yeah.
Exactly. All right. So everybody got everybody's Woody still look like what I got on my screen? Yes? Okay. So so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead, like I said. So the first thing I want to do is going to go ahead and we're going to create the offset. So right now, you can, if your image is not highlighted, just go ahead and drag the box around the whole thing. Like I said, right now mine is grouped together. If you guys want to group yours together, you can. It probably would be a good idea to do so. Just group the whole thing together. And be happy with the placement of where everything is at this point. And then what we're going to do is over here, this icon that looks like a star is the offset panel. And we're going to go ahead and click that. And we're going to click offset. And what we want to do is we want to create an offset that is the same whole circumference size as our rhinestone. So you know that the rhinestone for SS10 is the spacing for that is 0.130. Okay. And you might, if you're not, you might want to write that down or try to remember it, that when you create an offset and you're going to be creating an internal offset of another piece, that offset needs to be at the 0.130 spacing, size. That's what your offset needs to be. 0.130.
Is that that's the distance in the distance, right?
Yes, and your distance. And so you can do
Okay.
one of two things. You can slide your arrow, but I just go ahead and I just type it in. So I just highlight the that and type in. So I wanted to say 0.130 and hit enter. Okay. So when everybody is there, let me know. And then what we're going to do once everybody is there, we're going to go ahead and click apply. And actually, I'm going to tell you, I just noticed something. And if anybody else noticed it, when you created your internal offset, you see how it also put the lines on the inside part of the mouth where his tongue is? Everybody see that? But do you see how it created the internal offset around the tongue? Right? We could leave it like that. And actually, you know what? I think maybe I'll just go ahead and I'm gonna leave it like that. Did everybody get everybody's look like mine? Everybody look like mine? Okay. So if everybody looks like mine, then
I'm sorry, mine, I got little, what did I do? When I did the offset, I also have little pieces in the eyebrow part,
okay.
and under one of the little eyes. I got little pieces.
Okay, so
And part of it's because my background is not white either. My background is the gray matte piece because I don't know, I didn't have that media color thing for some reason.
let me
But
just turn my back there.
see, mine is not clean like that for some reason.
Okay. Well,
I
let's
wonder
go ahead.
where those pieces come from.
Well, sometimes when you create the offset, wherever they're, like I said, depending on the size, however you sized your graphic, right? You could have more space in between something than I did. And because you have more space, it was able to fill that space in.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Offset. But the good thing about that is we can go in and we can remove whatever pieces of it that we don't need.
Okay.
And so as long as you kind of have where you see your outline around the edges, right? You have the piece that's in here inside the beak, inside his mouth area.
Yep.
Everybody have that? That's basically really what we want.
Okay.
So as long as everybody has that, right? You can click your button that says apply. And so now you have an offset around your image. And if you wanted, you could go ahead and turn it black. Oops, let me click on mine and turn it black. Okay. And let me go ahead and turn this. Oh, let me see what I'm doing. Into that.
Sorry.
That's okay. I am trying to get to this little piece right here. Nope. All right. It wants to just be difficult right at the moment. Okay. So now if we clicked on, so now we've got our offset click. If we click on the rhinestone panel and just click on the edge fill, now we just have the outline from the offset that we created. Everybody looks like that? No? What's going on, Francina?
I got rhinestones in my as I'm looking at it in my right eye.
That's probably
No,
because
the other eye, alongside.
the long one.
Yeah, alongside. Yeah, but
Hold on one second. I don't wanna. Oh, I know why. Let's go ahead and I think what happened too is when I'm thinking what happened is like when you created your offset, it put that line around, and maybe that's probably why you have that
Okay,
while you
okay.
have that.
And that's fine. It's okay.
But what we can do is, let me go ahead and, let me stop sharing my screen a minute.
Okay.
And I want you to go ahead and, can you share yours so I can see what's on
Uh-huh.
your screen?
Hold on 1 second. Let me, um, can you see it?
It's coming. Okay, so, what I want you to do, okay, so you also, okay, and, if you go ahead and, move your offset over to the left or the right. Just drag it out. Yeah, just keep dragging it.
Okay.
Yeah, keep going. I want you to pull it all the way out, but
Okay, I was
but
using my
don't stretch it.
cursor.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Let me,
Okay. So
okay.
now move the other Woody out of the way so I can see. Okay. So now you got you got a piece right there. Oh, I see why too. See, because well, your eye is not as big as round as mine.
Okay.
So it tried to put it tried to go around that eye space. Like my eye was bigger, so it didn't
Okay.
give it any room to create that offset. But what you can do is you can just go ahead and let's go ahead and click on the offset. No, go ahead, not there. Click on the actual offset that you created. And turn the rhinestone panel off, the effect off. So just click the none. And
I'm gonna turn that back. Turn that, take
turn
it
that
off
back
flat.
to just lines. Yeah, no line.
No, I'm
The
sorry.
little triangle on the first row above. Yeah. So now I want you to go ahead and I want you to right click with the mouse and I want you to release the compound path. Okay. And I want you to go ahead now. The piece that, see that little tiny box up there at the very top? There's a little, go ahead and delete that.
Oh,
Go click undo. Okay, just click anywhere on the off the mat. Now go ahead and find that little spot. There you go. Delete that. And then delete, not that one. Move up. That one. Move over to the right. Delete that. And then delete that one next to it. Not that one. That one. Yes. Delete that. Okay. Now drag a box back around the whole thing.
right.
Oh, move. Don't drag that. Drag that out the way. Yeah. Okay. And then right click and then make compound path. Okay, so now when you drag that back, you should just have the piece, your outline and the piece inside of the mount. Okay, and then go ahead and you can turn the rhinestone effect back on so you can see it, make sure it looks good. There you go, and turn your stone color black if you want to so you can see it.
Okay, so I'm gonna when I turn my stone color black, I have to go back into the palette. Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, so now while we're here, let's go ahead and work on your eye for a minute. Let's go ahead and start with the larger one, right? Click it. Oh, you group, I think you group. Go ahead and ungroup your image. Okay. So now, so go ahead and try to, like, just make that a little bit, don't drag from the middle. Always drag from your corners. Because when you drag if you drag from the middle, you change the proportion of your image. So
Okay.
now you're not proportion height and width anymore. So your images might might look a little bit different than ours when we get all said and done, because I think you're a little bit wider this
Okay.
way. But it's okay. It's okay. But just go
Gotcha.
ahead and but drag from the corner and just kind of, there you go. Keep going. All right, make it a little bit bigger. All right, now start putting them, start buttoning them up to the white part, and grab that little green circle and rotate it a little bit to try to fit that right in there. Keep going. Yeah, keep going. Now keep going a little bit more. And then just drag them out. Just drag. I think you're good. You might be good right there. That might be good
Okay.
enough. Or you could drag that. Maybe I could drag it out just a little bit more from the corner. But drag from the other corner.
This
That
one?
way, the bottom one. Yeah. Just drag. Okay, that's good. A little bit, but bring it back in a little bit more. Okay. And then go ahead and do the same thing with the other one. Just kind of, we want to kind of, drag it, make it a little bit bigger. It's not going to be much, but that might be a little bit too big. Okay, leave it right there. That's probably good enough. And then we're going to try to, move it a little bit. There you go. Okay. All right, we can work with that right where we
Good?
are.
Is that good?
Yep. That looks good.
Okay.
Everybody think hers looks good? Okay.
All right. You
All
want me?
right. Yeah, you can go ahead and stop sharing your screen.
Okay.
How
Gotcha.
about everybody else? Anybody else have any questions, or good, not good? I'm gonna go ahead and turn, because okay. Okay, so now we have our offset, which is good. So now we're going to start working with our internal pieces of the design and go ahead and get them to fit within the offset. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and work with the hair, his hair. It's one of the largest pieces. And what we want to do is we want to go ahead and we're going to create an offset, but this time we're going to create what's called an internal offset. Okay, so we're going to go back to our offset panel, which is there's a little star. We're going to click on that. We're going to click internal offset. Okay. And I should have, before I did that, because you can't see it because of the red line, because the hair is red. So I'm going to go back. And I'm just going to go ahead and turn the hair a different color so that you can see what's going on. I'm going to just turn it to this light gray color for the moment. Okay. So now I'm going to go back, and I'm going to go back and create the internal offset. Okay, so now everybody see the red line that came up inside the internal offset, right? So now what we need is this internal offset to be a distance of 0.030, okay? And that's kind of the mirror opposite of your 0.130, right? Because we want that outline, and we want the inner pieces to be close together so that we don't have, this line distinction in our rhinestones. So if you make that internal offset a distance spacing of 0.030 and hit enter, it's going to put that line real close to the inside of what we're working with, but that's what we want. And the way you can work with this, sometimes you have to play around with it. The 0.30 is usually the starting point, but sometimes we play with things. And so this is where I work in conjunction with the rhinestone. I kind of do the effect, see what I got, and work within those confines. So I'm going to go ahead and turn on the rhinestone panel. And I know that I'm probably going to want this to be well, I've already done it, and I know that the linear fill looks best. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm just gonna turn on the linear fill so that I can see exactly where those rhinestones are showing up.
Excuse me, Tanya, I'm sorry, 1 second.
Mm-hmm.
We went into the offset, we clicked on internal offset,
Uh-huh.
we changed it to 0.030. And
Right.
we hit apply, right?
You can hit apply, or anytime you come out off of the offset, you click somewhere, it automatically applies whatever
Okay,
offset you created.
okay,
So
okay.
that's
thought
why I
you
say sometimes what I'll do is if I know that's my distance, and then if I click on the rhinestone panel, it automatically creates that internal offset at that distance spacing, and then I can keep working from there. So everybody see their rhinestones inside their internal offset that they created? And I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna turn my colors red so that I can see them. And you see how now that internal offset is right up in line with our offset, but that the stones are no longer overlapping. Now, at this point, the silhouette defaults its spacing to that 0.039, right? For your rhinestones, the spacing in between your rhinestones, which right now looks pretty decent, right? But if you're like some people and you're like me or whatever, you want those stones to be as tight as they possibly can, but still have enough room so that when you send the design to your cutting machine, your cutter doesn't cut the flop, right? Because if we make it too close, that spacing in between the holes is going to be too close, and when we pull it off of the mat, it may tear. So I have found the sweet spot spacing to be 0.020. Okay. You will see some other people may do theirs at 0.015 or somewhere between 15 and 20. Okay. But just know you can go as low as 15. I definitely wouldn't try to go any lower than that. But at 15, you may have some stones that may be very close together and not realize it if you're not paying attention or you're not meticulously looking at every stone before you send it to the machine. And there's a possibility that like I said, it might cut the flop. So because I sell a lot of my templates and I know that a lot of people are importing my designs out of into Cricut Design Space, I typically try to leave them a little bit more spacing in between. So that's why I stick with the 0.20. And I work with it. Sometimes I play around with that, but that's usually where I land. So I'm going to go ahead and just change my spacing to the 0.020 and hit enter. And then as you can see, those stones got tighter. Okay. And so right now I'm happy with that. So now we'll go on and we'll work on the next piece. So the next piece is going to be, let's just work with this large outer portion of the circle. Okay. And if you're not there, let me know. But when you're there, everybody just give me a quick nod and we'll keep going. Everybody there? Everybody? Okay. So we're going to do exactly the same thing again. We're going to create another internal offset of this inside piece here. So we're going to click on it. We're going to click our offset panel, click internal offset. It will always remember the last internal offset or it's going to remember the last offset that you did. So as you can see, it already kept the distance spacing at the 0.030. That's what I want. So I can go ahead and either click apply, or I can go ahead and click on the rhinestone panel and turn on the rhinestone effect. And I'm going to use again the same linear fill. And I'm going to go ahead and then change my stone color to blue. And I know and now we have blue stones in there. It's hard to see them because of that piece in there. But if I go out here and I just move that out of the way, drag that blue piece and then put that back, you could do that. And I could do the same thing with this gray piece because I really don't need it. Okay, just drag my pieces out of the way. Okay. Everybody drag their pieces out of the way. That way they can see. And we're going to keep doing that. So I want you to go ahead and do that for the blue piece over here on the left. And go ahead and do the same thing for the little blue piece at the top. Just to create your internal offset. Your spacing is going to be 0.030. And go ahead and turn and let's go ahead and finish up those two pieces. I'm going to do mine over here. Offset. Offset. Turn on the rhinestone panel, linear fill, turn my stones to blue.
Okay, and the rhinestone panel, see, my rhinestones, I guess I'm just doing the outline. Do I need to do the linear fill?
If you want to fill it in and you want your stones to be filled all in, yes, choose the linear fill
Okay,
option.
there it goes. Okay, it's working now.
And if you want to see what it looks like in the radial fill, you can. Matter of fact, I can do that over here. I just click one of these and click on the but I did, since I already did this earlier, I already know that it leaves these spaces in there because it's a circular pattern, and the circular patterns will tend to do this. And so as much as I don't like, I shouldn't say I don't like it, as much as I prefer the radial fill, I decided that I like my woody better in the linear fill option. So I did that one, and I just have this one last piece over here to do. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to create this internal offset, and then I'm going to create, turn my stones blue, and then move that little piece out of the way. Oops, forgot to turn the stone. Now my stones are blue.
Tanya, can you please put the image back in the chat so I can download it on copy it on my I moved.
Oh, okay.
Thank you. I'm sorry.
Yes. No, you're fine. So it should still be in the chat. So if you scroll back up through the chat in the chat, you should still, the image is still there. Do you see it?
So I'm on a whole new computer and it just gives me a blank chat.
Oh, so now you got, okay, well, I'll do it again then, no problem.
Thank you.
Did you get it? Do you see it now in the chat?
Yes, thank you so much.
All right, honey, you're welcome. All right. So everybody got all their blue sections done? No, what's going on, Jackie?
It just seems like I'm just off kilter today, and it just seems like it's just not working for me today.
Not working for you today? I don't know. I think Olive having that same problem over there, but she's just being quiet. Did you get caught back up, Olive, or no?
No, honey, I went Jackie over there. You're so right.
It is, because it's just, I don't know, it's nothing that's working right. And you remember when I did it on my own before the class, I was doing everything correct, but as I'm following, it's not working.
Okay, well, we can get you, we're gonna get you up to speed. Don't worry about it. Okay, what about you, Miss Chi? How are you?
I'm good. I'm
You're
good.
doing good? Okay, so you want to go ahead while I work with Jackie a little bit, you want to go ahead and do your beak and your other pieces. You're just gonna follow that same process.
Okay.
You can even go ahead and do your the larger portions of your eye. You can even do the other part. You can do all of your eyes. And you can go ahead and do the tongue too. So when you go ahead and finish up with yours, and I'm gonna go ahead and see if I can help Jackie out, okay? All right, so Jackie, go ahead. I'm gonna stop.
No, you just keep on going, because
You want to just
My
wait till the end?
Zoom is still kind of funky, and I'm doing it off of my phone and part of my computer, so it's just wonky. So
All right.
I can always do the replay.
All right. Well, if not, like I said, when we're all done, if you want me, want to stay on and see if we can work through it or whatever, we can do that too.
Okay.
What about
Uh,
you, Francina?
I think I'm doing pretty good right now.
Right now?
Got a little,
Okay.
no major issue, but when we catch back up with each other, I think I got it going on. I'm getting ready to do my tongue right now. And then you
You
said we
did
do the eyes.
Okay, so you did your beak already?
I did the beak already. Did I jump ahead?
No? Mm-mm.
Okay. I'm doing it
so
ready.
let me. Oh, I'm sorry. Quick question though.
Mm-hmm.
When we're doing the turning it into the rhinestones, say for the blue part, I got the blue part and I do the inner
Offset?
the inner offset, and then I go to the rhinestone and click on the linear or the radial, and then it'll turn, and then I move that blue portion out the way.
Yeah, because you won't need the background piece anymore.
Okay. Okay. Got it.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Let's see. So I'm gonna go ahead and try and catch up with you ladies. I'm gonna go ahead and do my beak. I'm gonna
I need to do.
so now let's see. Turn those right and move that out of the way. Oh, wait. Move that out of the way. And I think I need to rotate this just a little bit. And okay, so now you're probably saying, let me see. If oh wait a minute, let me do this. I'll go back to that in a minute. Do that. Let me turn it off that. I okay. That out of the way. And turn off. Right. Turn that one. Okay. And then this little piece right here. Again, internal offset. Rhinestone panel. Turn that on. Turn those stones this color. Move that out of the way. And then I'm going to turn these pieces of the eye, and I'm actually going to go ahead and turn them black, but I'm going to leave them, I'll turn them black in a minute. Leave that white. And we still have to make let's see something. Now that one I didn't take, that one, so the inside eye that I just did, I didn't necessarily make the internal offset, right? Because it's also one of those ones where we kind of were playing around with it and sizing it. So we could still kind of do that. And, you see how when I'm playing with it and it's increasing the number of stones and so forth and so on, it's probably one of those ones that I would just kind of play around with and manually do some things after we release the rhinestones to clean it up a little bit further. Okay, you can do it if you already created the internal offset for the eye and you're happy with it. There's no reason to go back and change it for any reason. But I'm just saying that for it's one of those pieces, like I said, that it's small enough that we could work with it without having to create that internal offset, because it's part of his pupil and I really want it to be as big as it possibly can be. And so I'm not trying to make it any smaller. So as long as I don't have any of my stones overlapping anywhere, we could do that. So but like I said, if you've already done it, there's no need to go back and change it. But you'll see, I just didn't do it. Just didn't do it. And this little eye will definitely be one of those ones where we'll play around with it and try to get as many stones in that spot as we can to make it look a little bit more uniform. But so how is everybody doing? Everybody kind of looking somewhat similar? Yes, all right, all right. Olive, I'm feeling, I'm not, Olive over there.
No,
Tanya,
I will just listen. I'll go back and check out the replay.
I'm gonna get you right before the replay. We're not gonna have any of that. Like I said, we can stay off camera, but I'm gonna just turn my outline. I'm gonna turn my offset, that back piece right there. I'm just gonna go ahead and turn him white, and I'm just gonna go ahead and turn my back of my matte black. I just like black. Just makes everything black makes everything pop.
Tanya,
Right?
what I did was, because we didn't set the boundaries, I made the eyes 6SS.
Oh, okay. You have
Okay,
6 SS stones?
I do.
Okay, well, if you have 6 SS stones, then you are welcome to turn yours to 6 SS. Anybody else who has 6 SS stones, you're welcome to change your stone size. I'm gonna just turn my eye color here like a gray, a darker gray color, not black. So just so that they show up so we can see them behind this black background. Okay, so now if everybody is kind of like me, the one part that you weren't able to create the internal offset for was that piece between his beak and his tongue, right? Everybody got that piece right there? See how it's my outline, where I turned my outline white, it made this piece white. But I don't want that to be white. I want that to be black. And so if anybody remembers when we looked at Francina's screen and how she had those extra pieces inside her offset, and we released the compound path, right? And we removed those pieces that she didn't need. I'm going to do the same thing. I want to release the compound path of this offset. And I think I can do it right from here. I can release the compound path. And then it allows me to be able to work with just that piece right there in the middle, because now it's its own little separate piece. Was yours like that, Chi?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I had to remove some things too, so now I'm
Did
trying to,
you? Okay.
but wait a minute. Release it of the whole offset, right? No, wait.
Yeah, I did it I clicked the back part of the
There we go.
offset and then I just released the compound path so that it would make that piece separate, so that I can go in here and I'm probably gonna now see, I'm gonna turn that to my linear
Oh,
fill.
there it is. Yep. Okay. So what did you do after you made it? I'm sorry, after you released the compound path, then what did we
So then I clicked on it
mm-hmm.
and then I clicked on the linear fill
Oh, okay.
to get it to fill in
There
those.
we go. Yes. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
And then I'm just going to turn that a different color, and and the back piece should have done the same thing. It should have also released from the compound, and I'm going to go ahead and do the same exact thing, which is change that to the linear fill and then just change my stone color to this dark color so that it
Okay.
And I don't like this white. I wouldn't make this a white background. Would make it I don't know, might use black diamond or something like that. Or I don't know. If I were going to keep this offset. But right now I'm gonna go ahead and highlight everything and turn off the line style so that we don't have any red lines around our circle so that we can get them, so we can see it better. Because it looks funny when the red lines are around the circle. But that's looking really good. What do you think? Right? So at this point, right? So now, like I said, so now we have two things where we can either, I'm gonna ungroup it. Well, no, not group. I just had it clicked. So there it looks without the outline around it, right? Or we put it back. I think I like mine just like that. Right? Because then it doesn't make the linear fill look funny, right? It doesn't look like it doesn't look, even though there's spaces in between, like the spaces don't look like they don't belong. If that makes sense. Because when we keep this circular part around it, the places where in the linear fill where the stones can't go all the way to the top, like right here at his hairline right here, right? You're not going to be able to get very many stones in there, right? So why take the time to try to fight with the design when you could just remove this piece of it and it still look it looks just as good. Now we still have some manual cleanup in here that we would need to do, right? We want to go in here and now what I was telling you earlier, Jackie, I was saying, say for instance, if you wanted to put this behind a black shirt, right? You don't necessarily need to make the eyebrows. You're muted, honey.
Right, because
the shirt is black, and the black is going to come in, and you're going to know that those are eyebrows. But if you wanted to, you could try to come in here, but you're not going to be able to get very many stones in there.
Right. And I would leave that. I would leave that out.
Yeah, I think if it were me, I would just, like I said, I probably would just put this on a black shirt, or a black hoodie. I might wear it on the back side, of my shirt or something like that. But but anyway, like I said, so now we're done. We actually have gone ahead and taken our JPEG image and we've turned him into an SVG, and now we've also turned it into our rhinestone pattern. Okay. At this point, like I said, if you because you have not released the rhinestones, this really is in the same format as it was before. Like nothing really has changed. We could go back and we could highlight the whole thing and turn off the rhinestone effect, and it'll go right back to our SVG typed image. Okay. Which actually this looks even better, I think, than the first one we created. But because it's got the little spacing in there and so forth and so on. But again, so give yourself clap for yourself. You did it, right? And like I said, you're gonna use the same technique every single time. For whatever image it is that you decide you want to bring in, you're gonna do your trace, you're gonna start looking at your image, you're gonna figure out what pieces of it need to be the pieces that you want to turn into your rhinestone, and you're gonna do that divide, or you're gonna do this subtract feature to get those pieces, and then you're gonna work with each of those individual pieces by creating your internal offsets so that you don't create those overlapping stones by just turning on the rhinestone feature. Because if you do it that way, you're gonna have a lot more cleanup is gonna be required. But so here we are, we got our image, and like I said, if we wanted it to be larger, we could go ahead now and we could still size it and want to make him maybe I want to make him a little bit larger, right? I really want him to fill up the whole, maybe I am going to put it on the back of a hoodie, right? So I'm going to want him to be really big, and so I'm going to size him up a little bit more. And this is, like I said, this is the perfect time to go ahead and do it before you release the rhinestones, because after you release the rhinestones, you're done. Unless you go back, you keep going back to the beginning and start all over again. But here we are. So I can now just drag my box around the whole thing and go to the rhinestone panel. I know I had everything pretty much turned on in the linear fill. Turn it back on and there he is.
So I am pretty much of a outline person.
You like your outline? Uh-huh.
And no, not the outline. I'm sorry, of writing my instructions down.
Oh,
So correct me if I'm missing a step. So what I have down is that you scale your image to, when you first start, you scale your image to the size where you want. Then you trace your image and you remove the trace from your image. You release compound path, and then you do your divide or your subtract all, right? And then after the divide and subtract all, then is that when you do the offset?
if you're going to create an offset, yes. Or you could just start creating the internal offset of your pieces.
Create an internal offset of pieces. Okay. And when do you group?
Oh, we haven't released the rhinestones yet, remember? We group and we do the make the compound path when we release the rhinestones. We haven't released them yet. So
Okay.
I don't know if anybody noticed earlier, before, when my image was a little smaller, the left side of my eye had a little bit more space in between it. And when I made it bigger, you see how those stones, they filled in that space. So now I've got a whole lot less cleanup to do than I thought I was going to do. So sometimes it's a good idea, when you're working in your design, to keep the effect turned on, but like I said, don't release the rhinestones and keep playing around with the size of your image as is grouped, so that you can figure out where you can, how much bigger you can get it, or how much smaller you need to get something. You can't do them individually because they all got to go together. But so like I said, so if I drag my box again, and remember, you can hold your shift key and go to the corner, or just make sure you just grab a corner. But when you grab that corner and I start really, see, I'm going to shrink it in. Let's see what happens. Well, actually, it's doing pretty good. But you see how the eye, you see how the stones are starting to, like, they don't fit. And but let's just see how small we could actually get, Woody, without losing too much of the detail. All right, that's starting to get a little bit too. I mean, you could work with that. Like, say, for instance, I'm gonna release it. Well, I'm gonna drag it over here to the side so I can see how small it is. Okay, so right now he is 5.79 by 6.293. So let's see if we can get him how much smaller we can go. Okay, so now we're starting to get a little, I think that's about as small as I think I could go. While making him still kind of look like Woody, right? So that is, okay, 4.8 by 5.222. Which would be a little bigger than what a breast pocket or something like that. But if you wanted to put that in something smaller, maybe you wanted to put it on a child's t-shirt, right? not too young of a child, but you wanted to put it on a, you know, a youth size t-shirt, you could at least now you know you could get that image down to about 5 inches wide and it would still look good, right? But of course, you know, I'm gonna go ahead and drag it back out again. And this is the thing about rhinestones, the more space you have, the better your design looks. So if I drag him out, let's see, we're at, let's see, right now we're at, that's 10.959 by 11.890. He's kind of getting off my mat a little bit. So I have a larger mat. I could still cut that, but I don't know. I wouldn't make it this size for somebody who probably had that I thought I would be selling it to, because I know that Cricut has its limitations on size. Can't bring anything in, you know, wider than an 11.5. So I probably would keep it down. So right now this says 10.521 by 11.416. So if I were gonna, like I said, this would be the perfect size for me if I said I was gonna put this on the back of a hoodie. And this is where this is what I would do. And then at this point, if I'm happy with my design, I want everybody to get to the place where they are happy with their design. Because I'm hoping, ladies, that you guys are gonna go ahead and, you know, create this. Like, go ahead and cut it out and stone it and stuff. I want to see your finished products. So is anybody actually gonna make this when they're done with it? Yes, yes. Okay. All right. So I'm sizing mine to where I want it to be. So I want you to go ahead and size yours to where you want it to be, so that when we're done, we're actually like done. So I'm good with that. So now we're gonna go ahead and we're going to release our rhinestones. Everybody know how to release the rhinestones, right? Okay. But before we do
Oh,
that,
wait, before we do that, do we have
yes.
to highlight the whole design and then release?
No, we're not gonna do that.
Okay.
Remember, I like to release my colors one at a time, so that I can go ahead and group them all together one at a time. Because if you release them all at the same time, what's going to happen is if you wanted to work on a specific set, it's just harder to do it that way. You could go in and, like I say, use the panels and select by color and then group them all together that way. But if you do it as you release, then you don't have to go back and do it later. But if you wanted, remember we talked about, you know, like I said, if you were going to do this to create passive income because you wanted to sell your templates, you know, a lot of times when you buy templates from folk, they tell you how many stones are in your design and so forth and so on. So you all know that when you're in the rhinestone panel, like right now, I got the rhinestone panel pulled up and it's telling me that this design, I highlight the whole thing. This design has, my design, yours may be different. My design has 3,567 rhinestones. Anybody got higher than me? How many rhinestones you got, Chi?
I don't know. Where do you see that part at? I'm not
Okay, so if you open
familiar
up
with that part.
if you open up the rhinestone panel,
Uh-huh.
you see down there at the very bottom where you see your 6SS, your 10SS, 16, 20, and
Oh,
other.
yes. Okay. Yeah.
So your stone
Okay.
count, yes.
I have 3,026.
Okay, 3,026. Okay, you charge a penny a stone. That means this is designed before you even put it on a t-shirt. It's worth $32.
All right.
Okay,
All right.
that's the math that I try to get. Well, that's the math I'd like to try to stick to, is to charge a penny a stone
Mhm.
for a design. So you know, and that's before you even put it on a shirt, right? But what happens is most people, you tell them, okay, I got 3,500 rhinestones in this shirt, so you know, $35 for the design, plus you add another what, $10 or maybe
Mhm.
$15 for the shirt. We're talking what, $50? you tell them $50 and they, they frowning their face up or whatever. So, you gotta kind of think about, you know, where you want to be price point wise, but you also want to be mindful of how many stones it took you to create that design, because stones are not cheap.
And it's not a regular t-shirt.
Exactly. And if I
Right.
put this on a hoodie, if I put this on a hoodie, we talking straight $75 right off the bat.
I'm with you. And the
Mhm.
sad part is they would pay for it with the white person, but they won't pay for it with us.
Right.
Bingo.
Yep.
Well, you got to be careful when you say that, Olive. I'm recording now. And I'm like,
Somebody is
out, okay?
preaching.
That's true.
I
But
can't edit it out. I can't edit it out. But unfortunately, like I said, the truth is the truth. For those of us, of color, like I said, we do find that, people will patron, our white counterparts, and pay them what they ask before they will pay us what we ask, and unfortunately, like I said, nothing much with that has changed. But like I said earlier, again, we have to learn how to value our work. And I think that, I've heard some people say that, when they're pricing their stuff, they charge, 2 cents a rhinestone. I at this point don't know how I could sell this design for $70, right? I just don't. But like I said, maybe I'm working with the wrong clientele of people. I don't know. I don't know. But I just try to, at the end of the day, I just try to be fair. I try to be fair, and I try to make sure that I cover all of my costs. And I suggest, like I said, the same thing to you ladies. You know what it means, what your costs are, but don't shortchange yourself, like I said, again, just to make a sale. Because at the end of the day, all it does is teach your customer how to devalue what it is you bring to the table. And we need to change that. So at this point, like I said, I got 3,567 stones in my design, but I'm gonna I need to know how many. But mine's is gonna change. That number for me is gonna change because I have some areas here that I'm gonna want to clean up. Like I think what I'm gonna do is, and I'm just gonna talk you through this right the minute. Like right here where my cursor is in the mouth area, I might try to go in here and I might add a few more either yellow stones or black stones, or I don't know. Maybe I might just leave it alone. Because like I said earlier, if I put it on a black shirt, this background is going to be black anyway, but I might still fill in this area a little bit more. So I might add some stones here. I probably would come down in here in the beak area and clean this up a little bit, add some stones here to make this line more defined. I might come in here, right here in this little blue section, and try to fit 1 or 2 stones in there. And maybe right here in this particular eyebrow, I might try to move these stones a little bit to try to make it look a little bit more like an eyebrow, but we'll see what happens after I release the stones. So I'm gonna go ahead and start with the red ones. So before I do that, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm going to click on the areas that are light color. So I'm gonna click on the red and I'm gonna click on the tongue, because those are gonna be the layers that we're gonna create for our flock, right? Now, unless you want your tongue to be a different color, right, then you would make it a different color and it wouldn't be part of the layer that goes with the hair. But I'm gonna leave mine red so that I don't have too many layers that have to go pieced together in this design. So I'm gonna click the red for the top part of his hair, and I'm gonna click the tongue, and I'm gonna go ahead and right click, and I'm gonna group those together. And sometimes, like I said, when you do that, you might get a little shifting of some things, and that's okay. Because like I said, at this point, now is where we're gonna go, and we're gonna just kind of, well, let me see something. Let me ungroup this a minute, because I'm gonna shift this tongue a little bit. I want it to kind of line up a little bit more in line with the bottom part of the beak. Yeah, that's probably about as best I'm gonna get. But I was just trying to straighten up this line a little bit. So this red part and the tongue, again, I'm gonna right click and I'm gonna group. And then I'm gonna make a notation. I'm gonna write it down. Okay, so here it tells me that my red stones at the moment, I have 1,377 red stones. At this point, I'm gonna probably go ahead and put a plus sign because I know that I'm gonna probably either add a few stones. And I don't think it matters, like if you're selling your templates, if your stone count is not exact, you just don't want to be way under, right? Because if somebody is trying to make your design and they want to make it the way you've designed it, you want to be able to tell them exactly the approximate number of stones they're going to need in order to create the design. And if I told them that you only needed 1,200 stones to do that part and you actually needed 1,377, they're not going to be able to make the design. But if you're over, you know, if I say you need 1,400 stones, well, then even if you don't use all 1,400, you're still to the good, right? Because you're still able to make the design. So I'm at 1,377. So I've got those grouped together. And then I'm going to go ahead and group my blue pieces together. So I got this blue piece on this side and the blue piece on the other side. So I'm going to shift and right click and group those together. And that says my blue, I have 1,202 stones on my end. And then we have the yellow. So we have this little small piece right here and then his beak. I'm going to right click and group those. And I'm at 664. And then we have the white, which is the eyes. So I group those two pieces together. And I'm at 232. And then we have the little black sections. So I have this eye, that eye, this part of the mouth, and this back piece, and group that together, group. And I got 74 pieces there.
Oh,
Okay. Everybody there? Where'd you get lost, Francine?
I am just trying to group my black pieces together.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, when everybody gets there, let me know.
Shit. That piece. Okay, I'm there.
So everybody got their pieces grouped together. Okay, so now we can go ahead and we can release the stone. And this is the reason why I say, you know, I like to release section by section or color by color, because when I go to make my edits, then as I'm making my edits, I'm only making edits to the stone, that stone color. But if we were to release all of the stones at one time and we started making edits, then it gets a little bit harder to, you know, make those edits, because then we're going to be moving parts of we might be moving parts of the stones that we don't necessarily want to move. And as long as these stones haven't been released, then it won't affect that. They'll still all be grouped together. So anyway, I'm going to start with the red, and I'm going to go ahead and release the rhinestones. Everybody know after it takes it a minute, and when it releases the rhinestones, it'll put a little box around all of them. I'm going to turn my media back. I'm going to turn it to a lighter color so everybody can see that. So you see all the little boxes around the reds, right? So now each of these stones has been released. So now you got to be careful, because like I said, each of these stones is ones that can be moved. But I'm going to go ahead and hold on a second, this back over the way. Zoom that in, and like I said earlier, I know I want to put a stone. I want to put a few red stones right in here if I can, or it might be blue stones. I don't know, but I'm going to start with the red. So I'm going to just go to this one right here, and I'm just going to click on it, and I'm going to click duplicate. And usually what'll happen is it'll put that stone, snap it to the grid, but it puts it in line at least with the other one. So then all I have to do is click on it and just kind of nudge it with my arrow where I want it to go.
If you regroup after you release, does that take away the release?
If I do what?
Regroup it after you have released the stones?
So if I had released all the stones and then grouped them at that point,
Yeah.
yeah, you can do that. You could do that if you didn't want to make any edits. Let's just say you had your design, you looked at it, you were satisfied with it, you say, I don't need any more edits. You could have released the stones, right click, group them together, and then
Mhm.
went ahead and clicked the make compound path.
Oh, okay, make compound path.
Yeah, you always want to remember that's the after you release, you want to group, and then you want to make compound path.
Even when you're doing an SVG and sending it to your hard drive?
Yes.
Mm.
Because what happens is when you if you don't create the like the compound path just keeps everything together.
Okay.
Okay, just think about it like that. The compound path keeps everything together. When you just group them, let's just say, for instance, if you group them and you bring somebody imports the design over into Cricut Design Space, well, a lot of times what happens is they have to ungroup everything. But when they ungroup them, then all of the stones are going to be little tiny circles. This way, if you ungroup them and you've already made them the compound path, they stay together as that one layer that you created.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
I'm sorry, I missed it. So we're gonna, after we release, then we group and then do the compound path, or we release and then do compound path and then group?
No, you release
Uh-huh.
and then you group
Okay,
and then you release compound path.
okay.
I mean, excuse me, and then you make compound path.
Okay, we're gonna make. Okay, I was just writing for my notes.
Yes.
Thank
Release,
you.
oops, excuse me, release, group, make. Okay, so like I said, so I added a stone here, and I'm just going to double check and make sure that, I'm not getting too close to either the, I'm not getting that stone too close to the stones above it or beside it. And then I'm looking right here and I'm saying, oh, the system said it couldn't get a stone in there, but I think I might could get a stone in there. So I might go ahead and add another stone right here. And then, like I said, I'll use my arrow key. And as you can see, when I did that, there was a reason why the system didn't put a stone there, because you see how close it is? You see how I added that stone, and then I don't know if you can see it really good. I'm trying to zoom in a little further. But you see how this is the stone that I added, and there's very little space in between either side. So what you could do is, you could play around with it. You could just start like moving some of the other stones right next to it, kind of shift them just a little bit, just to give that stone a little bit more space, so that when you go to send this to your cutting machine, like I said, you don't risk tearing your flock. But I really think I want to put a stone in that spot, so I'm going to try to make that fit. So I think that I made those little minor adjustments. I think that's okay. I think I might try to put a blue stone right here and a blue stone right here, but I can't do it right now because see, right now we haven't released the blue stones yet. Okay. But I'll just be mindful that I think I'm going to try to put a blue stone here and a blue stone here. This was part of the eyebrow, so I'm not going to add any stones here. But what I do want to do, and I'm going to zoom out just a little bit, is I might try to just kind of shift these stones just a little bit, kind of see if I can kind of create that curvature of an eyebrow, or just kind of give that space. So I just like play with this spacing a little bit. I'm not going to make very many adjustments here. Just move some things over just to kind of open up that space just a little bit more, so that the black will show up and kind of give me that effect of an eyebrow. I might try to maybe put a stone here and shift it into place, kind of, and see if I can create, let's see, maybe I might delete that one and maybe then shift this one over. Because what I'm trying to do is kind of create like an arc, right? An arch in the eyebrow. Um, and sometimes, like I said, if I go back And if I turn this, I go back and I turn my media panel back black again, that probably would help me to be able to see, right? So now I can kind of see where that eyebrow. So see, now it's kind of looking more a little bit like the other one over here. So I might come over here and I might move this one out a little bit, kind of move that a little over. You know, I think that's going to be about as probably as maybe I might move this up a little bit, try to create more of a little arc in there, not get that too close. But there we go. I mean, that looks a lot, that looks better, I think. Let's zoom out a little bit. What do you guys think? Maybe we try to,
Maybe that one stone that's up at the point, you can kind of move that out the way completely and see what it look like.
this one right here?
Well, all the way up at the point, all the way up. Keep going up. Like
Here.
4 or 5 in. No, back up on the. Now go up to 4 or 5 in. Yeah, that one. Yep.
This one. Aha. Yes. Yes. And I might even can click the one next to it and just bring it down a little bit, right? Just kind of, what do you think? Yay, nay?
Yeah, that looks so much better. I thought I was.
Do you think we need to bring this one a little closer or?
Yes.
Let's see. Right, so now we kind of getting a little bit, maybe. And this is the part where the tedious work comes in with your design, right? So remember, the system is going to get you about 90% of the way there, okay? The other 10% is going to require some human effort. And it's going to mean that you go in, and once you release the rhinestones, you're going to go in and you're going to do these little cleanups. But when you do that, it's going to make your design look so much better. It is what's going to set you apart from people who don't know how to use their software and think that once they release the rhinestones, they're done. Okay. Just like there's a little here. I might move this space. Well, this is because well, okay, so I moved that. I'll show you I'll show you how you can even out this space a little bit more, just to get that a little bit tighter maybe. But anyway, we're working in the eyebrow. I think the eyebrow looks okay now. I think I'd be happy with that. I mean, I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on it because, you know, it's not necessary. I don't think I'm going to get it any better than currently what it is. But just making those few little adjustments did make it a little bit better. I might see if I could come in here. Let's go back in this space right here and see if I can get a stone like right in here just to kind of fill in this little part right here. So I'm gonna stick a stone in there, and I should be using the tip you taught me, Jackie. I'm sorry. Should be using my alt. I'll do it in a minute. Okay. So I'm gonna bring that back a little bit. And I'm gonna zoom back out. All right, so see, adding that one stone kind of, you know, tighten that up a little bit, right? A little bit in here. Would even, let's say, take this stone and move him over just a little bit more. I don't want to mess up the line too much. I think I'd be okay with that. You think down in here we need to add a few red stones in here to try to make this look more peaky, like give it a point, make it a little, come to a point a little bit right here.
Yes.
All right, so let's go ahead and I got a red stone already sitting out here, so I just take this one and kind of drag it over in there. So the idea is we're trying to create like a more of a little point here. So I'll start by putting that stone right there. Try to get it into place. Then I'll go ahead and duplicate and make another. Oh, what? Nope. Okay, so this is the trick that Jackie taught me when we had class 2 weeks ago. So what Jackie said you can do is if when you want to add stones, rather than to do click on the stone and do a right click and duplicate. If you click on your stone, okay, I'm going to click on the stone, if you hold the Alt key on your keyboard and just drag with your mouse, it will drag out a stone. Everybody see that?
Okay, it's you girl.
Girl, you sounded like I did when she told me. I was like, what? But look how that did. I like that, right? That made that made that much more defined looking, just by adding those two stones right there.
Tanya, see if you can get another one up above that on the ends.
Right
Like
here?
up right there.
Okay. So I'm gonna click on that stone and hold the Alt and drag in the opposite direction. And then I'm gonna use my mouse to kind of, my arrow keys to nudge it where I want it to go. What do you think? Wow. That looks good,
Yeah, I like that. That looks defined.
doesn't it? What you got going on over there, Chi?
Oh, I'm working on it.
You working on it? Okay.
Yeah.
So this is what we would do.
Yeah, I'm very
And
particular.
yeah, so this is what we would do. So hit down here, like in his tongue area. So the next part, so I'm gonna look at it. I'm gonna say, oh, is there anything else? You see anything else you wanna try to what happens? Do we think we could? I don't think we're gonna get a stone in here. Although we could, I guess we could kind of like maybe try and do that, and I don't know. And then let me see if we can get a stone.
That's good. Don't put another one there. That looks good because it looks like that black is supposed to be there. Like
Okay,
that.
so it's kind of making that like that angle.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
The offset outline, right?
Well, actually, we don't have the offset, but it's just that part of it that try to make it like his hair kind of comes like a, you know how it like this and then like that, like a zigzag, right? Trying to create that zigzag. So I do like that. I think you're right. I don't think we need to add another stone. I don't think we need to add that stone there. I like the way that comes out like that. Anywhere else we want to make some
How about right down here where the yellow and the red meat at come down from where we was just talking about. Come over. Yep, right in that section.
Okay, so we're gonna add some stones in here.
Yes.
Okay, so we're gonna do like I'm gonna hold down shift and oops. Oh Lord, let me go back. Ta-da, ta-da, ta-da. No, sorry, hitting the wrong key. Okay, so Alt and drag. Now this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna bring out a bunch of stones, and then I'm gonna show you how you use the horizontal key to create the equal spacing in between your stones. Okay, so that kind of a quick
Can you
little
use
tool.
the replicate panel on the panel to replicate a thing for that stone, and it gives you either up or down or side to side? Can you use that?
You probably can.
I was just wondering.
Yeah, you probably can. Like I said, I get so where I use the tool, I use the features that I know work, right? And that's what I use. And I know that there are other ways that you can do things, just like Jackie, showed us about the alt thing. But I was so used to just doing right click, delete. I mean, just clicking the delete, the duplicate, that's just what I did. But I'm gonna drag out a few, or you could come in here, right? Go to the Rhinestone panel and click the freehand, right? If you click the freehand and then click, it'll give you one stone. If you click freehand and you click and drag, you can get a bunch of stones.
Ah.
Okay. It gave me the blue stones because that's probably what I was on last. But since we're working with red stones, what I'll do is I'll just go ahead and just turn these to the red. And then that way I have a few red stones to work with. And the ones that I drew out that are like this, right? They just have to be released. So if I click on them and click release rhinestones, now they're individual stones that I can move where I want them to go.
Smart.
So what I would do is I would come in here, right? And I would just I'm going to add a few stones, and I'm not going to really care about right now, like where they go, other than I'm going to try to see how many I can fit in there. And I'm gonna see if I can get that many stones in this line, right? And I am gonna want to try to, like I said, I'm gonna do like this. So, so what you're gonna do is you're gonna take, what I want to do is I want to create equal spacing in between this line of stones, right? Just like we have equal spacing now, I want to create equal spacing where I've added these stones. And the way that you do that is if you go ahead and you open up your transform panel, this one here, with the 3 lines with the with the little middle line right here, right? You open up this transform. You see where it says horizontal, where it says spacing, and you have your horizontal and your vertical. And right now they're grayed out because we don't have anything selected. But if I go over here and I start, and you want to, when you do this, you want to start with the most outer stones, right? Because the outer stones are the ones that are going to, is what's going to create this, the equal spacing. So whatever is on the 2 outer stones, whatever is in between gets equally spaced between those outer stones. So I'm going to just, I don't necessarily have to select the very last stone, but I want to select the one that, at least an outer one. So I'm gonna start with this one, and I'm gonna hold down the shift key, and I'm gonna click every stone after that. Now, sometimes when you do that, it gets a little harder to see the stone. So sometimes I might click 1 or 2 and then start from on the opposite side. But I want to make sure that I click this outer stone here, this red one. And then I'm just going to click all of the ones in between. And you want to try to see and make sure that you see the little box go around those stones. And it gets a little tricky. But if you do that, but you see how now in the spacing, they're not grayed out anymore, right? If I click the one that says horizontal, if I was successful and click all of the stones, I should get equal spacing between those stones. If I missed one, then you'll see what happens. And see, I missed one, or I missed more than one. So I would just go back and do my undo. And I would go out here and try it again. Maybe I start on this end. So I'm gonna hold my shift key down. Let me just turn this. I'm gonna hold down the shift key, and I'm gonna try, like I said, sometimes it's just where you position your mouse. Sometimes it's when you see the mouse turn from a pointer to a finger is when you know that you're actually have landed on something. So I'm just gonna keep doing that and get to that last outer stone. And I'm gonna try to get that one right there. I think that's enough. I think I got it this time. Try it one more time. Nope, I missed something. Okay. And so then sometimes when that gets to be too much of a pain in the ass, excuse me, I might just go back in and just start using my mouse. Like I said, not using my mouse, using my arrow keys. Oh, I see why. I got a stone.
I'll be right back.
Okay, I had a stone that was overlapping. So that's why when I thought I was selecting it, I wasn't selecting it. So let me try it again. So I'm going to click this stone. I'm going to try and select these stones again. So I'm going to click this one, that 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 one, and that one. And click this horizontal spacing again. I missed another one. Darn. All right. You get the idea. But that's how you can create horizontal space. You can create equal spacing. It works really well when you're working with the linear panel. It doesn't always work very well when you're working with the radial fill, because sometimes with the radial fill, your stones are curved. And because they're curved, when you go to try to do equal spacing, it doesn't always line them up. But this is a way that you can go in and create that equal spacing in between your stones without having to use your arrow keys. But I'm just going to go ahead and use the arrow keys and go ahead and kind of position these stones in place. Okay, so that does look a whole lot better. I think maybe, do we think we want to add one more here? Uh-oh. Oh. Drag. Do I want to put one there? Do we think we need it? I think it's okay. I might drag this one over.
Take
So
it from this place and move it down just by, see where the one is by the eye and put it in between that one and the next. Yes, put it there.
right here.
How
Okay.
that makes an improvement. Yes, right
Okay.
between those two, correct.
So if I
Then-
add one here, I'm gonna need to shift this stone over a little bit to make some space, but I think we have enough room to be able to do that. Okay. And that gives us that line, that linear line, that where you have like a stone and an in and a stone and an in and then a stone, right? So I think that looks pretty good.
Yeah, it looks a little better.
Looks better? Okay. So Anita, I know you had to step away for a minute. Did you know the tip that Jackie had shared with us in class, that if you're trying to duplicate a stone, rather than to do your right, click on the stone and then, right click and click duplicate. If you click on the stone and hold down your Alt key and then drag with your mouse, you can drag out another stone. Did you know that?
Yes, it
You
would
did?
probably,
Okay.
it would be, I have a Mac, so it'll be my control, I believe.
Oh, okay. Okay. All righty. You supposed to be teaching us some tips tonight. You told me you're not, I know you got some mad skills. So you've been quiet. I'm okay. So
Still, my software had to be re-updated, so it was taking its time. So that's when I stepped out. And well, I didn't actually step out. I clicked y'all off accidentally, trying to get that to load back up.
I see. Okay. Well, no problem. No problem. So we just, like I said, we're just here and we've released the red rhinestones and we're just doing our cleanup work. And like I was telling the ladies, I don't know if you had heard, like I said, this is where you're going to spend more time in the cleanup than you actually spend in the creation. And you probably already know this, but to do that is what's going to refine and make your design, set your design apart from, other people that just use the software and then just leave it as is.
Right.
And so right now we're just, like I said, we're just adding some stones where we think we need to add or deleting some. So I'm going to be finishing up this mouth. I think maybe we try to fit a stone, at least one more stone down in here. Maybe I just shift this over a little bit to be able to create that and stick that stone right in there like that. I might just move that one over a little bit more, and then move that in a little bit more. And that might be it. That might be all I do for the mouth, unless somebody thinks, but I think what I would do here is I would add the black stone. Anybody, a suggestion, right? Think maybe just maybe try to get a black stone to fit right in there.
One, yes.
One, right? Okay. So I think with that being said, I think we're done with the red. I think we're done with the red. So now that I have the red all finished, we probably added what, maybe 10 stones total, right? So I'm just going to add 10 to my total number to bring my total count to 1388. That's how many that's about how many redstones. So if I were going to sell this as a template and I were going to tell somebody what the stone count was for the redstones, I think I'm around 1388. So I probably would just go ahead and put in my stone template that you needed 1400 redstones. That's what I would do. So now that I have all the redstones released, now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to group them. I'm going to go to the panels window over here on the toolbar, and I'm going to select by color so that I can now group all of these redstones together and then make them the compound path. So you just you go to your panels, you click select by color. And when you do this, you want to make sure that you don't have any other colors on your mat or your design screen, because it will add in those colors. So let's just say, for instance, I have these red stones right here, and I'm going to just group them together real quick so to move. If I did this, and let's just say these stones were sitting out here like this, when I go to the panel screen and I say select by color, and I click over here and say by fill, and I scroll down and I find the red, you see how it selected all of my red stones, but it also selected the ones that were on the mat? I don't want the ones that are on the mat because they're not part of the layer that we're creating for the template. So just make sure that if you use the select by colors panel, that you don't have anything else on the mat, on your screen that you don't want selected. So
Why do you put by fill?
Because this is a fill. The other option would be, if you do the select by color, if you collect by line, then it's going to select the outline of the line outline of the circle. And we don't want that. Because if we only use this, how are we going to change, when we get ready to release the ones for the yellow, the white, and the blue, the option is not there. Right? Now, if let's say, for instance, if I went in here and I selected these blue stones, and I went over here and I turned the line color, I think, to blue. I think now if I go back to the panels window and I said select by color, well, no, it didn't do it there either. I thought that's well, it didn't do it. But anyway, you select the fill. You select the by fill because that's the fill. The fill is the color that we've selected. So we want to select by fill. But let's go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and move these red stones off of the mat so that when we select the red again, it only selects this red and these red. So panels, oh, it's already open. By fill, and select the red. And now we have the little boxes. All the little boxes have been highlighted. We can either right click and click group, or you could come up here to your toolbar over here next to panels, and you could click object and click group. Because sometimes, because those are individual stones, depending on where your mouse might be, you might click something and accidentally move a stone out of place. So you can always use this toolbar, and you can always reach it you can always select it from the toolbar over here. So we could do object, hit the group, give it a minute. Okay, so now they're all grouped together, and then we can click the object again and make the compound path. And sometimes when you make the compound path, it changes the color of the stones. It's you just go back in and to your fill panel and just change them back. Okay. So now we've done with the red, and now that whole section moves by, it's all grouped together. Okay. Put that back. So now I'm going to go ahead and work with the blue. So I'm going to go ahead and release the blue rhinestones. So we go back over here to the rhinestone panel, click release rhinestones. Wait till that releases. And I said the only thing I thought I would do is try to stick a red one here and one here. But now that I'm looking at that, I'm almost thinking that I might just leave that the way that it is. Does anybody think that we should try to stick a blue stone? I'm gonna zoom it in a little bit.
You could always put one there and just see.
See what happens? All
Yeah.
right. Because it's a layer, and because this is a separate layer, even though that blue stone that we just placed is a little close to that red stone, it won't matter because it's not going to be on the temp. We're not cutting that as part of the same template. And when we go to piece it together on our shirt or hoodie or whatever we're going to make, it should be fine. You can probably get it to fit in there. But now, like I said, I've added that and I think it throws the design off. What do you think?
I like it better without them two.
Without the two stones, right? Yeah, I
Me.
think I like it better without the two stones too. I think because the design kind of has that thing where it kind of has the spacing, right? And I think if we start messing with it, we lose it. So I think I'm gonna leave that alone. I don't even think I'm gonna come in here. I don't know. Do I want to add one? Let's see. If I add one down here, maybe I can put one over here, space that a little. Uh-oh. Maybe move that one over. Move that one over. I might do that. Uh-oh, I got that offline a little bit. I might do that. And maybe down here at the bottom, since there's kind of like 3 stones on this side, maybe just put 1 stone over here. You know, I see what it's trying to do. It's just trying to keep that circular shape that it had with that linear fill. But let's just see. We just take this little stone right here and add that one right there. Maybe one more. Duplicate. Sorry, Jackie. Well, it stuck that stone right there, and I think maybe I might just leave that one right there. Just kind of shift that one over a little bit, leave that like that. I think that might be all the edits that I make to this blue section. You have this in here, and you could try to go in here and clean this up a little bit, maybe try to tighten up, but you really, I mean, what you could do, and I'll show you, this is probably a better example of the how to do that equal spacing in between the outer stones. Like if I click this one,
I'm thinking about that.
and I click this one and this one and this one, and go back to the transform panel and click the horizontal spacing, it doesn't really change it very much. And then what's going to happen is it's going to take this off its line, right? It's going to, and now I could kind of do that across, but I don't think it made it any better. Now, and if we try to add a stone, what's going to happen is we're going to have extra stones up here, but then we're not going to have them. We might get 2 extra stones here and here. Well, let's try it. I mean, what's the worst that can happen, right? Is we just, but we don't like what it is and we just undo it, right? And so I would probably add that 1 stone, and then I would come in here, select all of those stones, and then try to create the equal spacing like that. I might do that, right? And then I might try to add another stone. And I know that I can. I might even be able to get 2 stones in there.
You're messing with the peak now.
All right, well, okay.
Not too far over.
Okay, so let's just do the equal spacing from here. Let's see. Do like that. Let me zoom out a little bit. What do you think?
I would probably remove that blue stone
Last, right?
from that yellow stone.
This
Yeah,
one?
yeah, yep.
Uh-huh.
Okay, well then, if that were the case, I think what I might would do is go back. Because I think the way the spacing was before
Mm-hmm.
made that, I think that was about right.
Yep, that's good right there.
Yeah, but I gotta put that stone back because I did move it.
Gotcha.
Okay. So
So
this is
now
the,
looks like it was like it was supposed to be intentional.
exactly, exactly. So this is, like I said, so this is the cleanup that we do, and this is where you spend a lot of your time, but like I said, I think I do like that a little bit better. And so now that we are pretty much done with the blue, we can go ahead and do that same step again. We go ahead and we go to the panel screen. I select by color. I go to my fill. I select the blue. I right click. I group.
Don't forget that.
What were we gonna say?
Don't forget that blue up there by the red. Come over to your left. See that little section of blue by itself? Is I don't think it's highlighted. Oh, was it?
I think, yeah, it did.
Okay.
So, but so then, so I grouped them all together. So then I'm just gonna go ahead and make them compound path. And it, oh, wait a minute.
Right. See, I didn't think it did.
Ah, okay. So you know what that meant is that those stones actually did not get released. Those stones didn't get released. Okay, so now we can go back and select by color and select the blue. And now I see the box around it. Thank you so much.
Okay.
All right. And then, oh, darn it. Right click, group, make compound path. And make the compound path. And okay. So then so we're almost done. We're almost done. We're gonna go ahead and we'll do the yellow. Because I think the only area in the yellow that I want to clean up is maybe just right down here in this beak area, right? Maybe see if we can line those stones up a little bit just to make it more defined. So we'll go ahead and release those rhinestones. I'm gonna blow it up a little bit. Come down and oops. Let's see. Let's see. I'm gonna. And I'm gonna. But I'm just gonna.
That one is by itself, Tanya. Bring it. No, go to your left.
Which one? This one?
No, the next one. Nope. Oh,
Here?
yeah. Bring that down and then put one over top of it.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So kind of make him a little bit more triangular.
Yeah.
Like right over in there, right? Maybe shift that one over just a little bit. We can I mean, we got room to play with this right here, right? Because it's at the bottom of the screen, so we could kind of do something like that. So now we got, and maybe see if we can get one to fit like right in here.
Mm-hmm.
Or do you think we should get a black, or we should put a black one in there? Let's try the yellow and just see if we stick a yellow one in here instead. Let me zoom out a little bit. Or maybe it should be black. Let me take it out.
I think it looks good in there.
You think it looks good with this one? Okay, I'm gonna do this, and then I'm gonna turn the color
Black.
so that you can see the difference. Try to anyway.
Mm,
So that kind of made his beak look a little bit more pointed, right?
Yeah.
Where if we left it yellow, it kind of made it look more, what do you think?
I don't think you could go wrong with either one, but okay. Try the black one. I think that might have been better, actually.
You think the black, okay. So turn it back. Oh no, which one was it?
Yeah, that one. That one.
I think what's gonna happen is when we do that, I think let me just duplicate that. I need to put one over here as well, right?
What color though?
This color that I got it. Oh, wait a minute. No, wait, no, wait. No, it needs to be yellow.
Right, that needs, yeah.
So now it made it, we've pointed it out a little bit more, but we've also kind of, I don't, it might even be, see, this is the part sometimes where you either, you just leave it alone, right? You just don't mess with it at all. Or, but sometimes I can, uh-oh.
I would say add a space where that yellow, it looks like a stone missing, or
Mm.
I mean, like separate, I mean, kind of shift some of the yellow stones over to cover that spot.
Here?
Yeah, right in there.
Yeah, we're gonna get there. I'm trying to get this beak, this little here. Does that look any,
I think that one point should be yellow.
huh?
The end point should be yellow.
Which, the end point?
Go up, go up, go up. Where you made it black at, yes, that one.
You want that to be yellow?
Yeah, that looks better.
You like that better?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's giving it a point too right there, like a separation from the
Okay,
mouth to the beak.
all right. And then we'll shift some of these stones to try to see if I know it can't fit, it's not gonna fit right there by itself without any adjustments because it's too tight.
Right. Just shift some of the stones.
Yeah, I'm gonna zoom in so I can see a little bit better. And maybe you guys can see a little bit better too. Let me see what happens when I move this. See, I see what this is doing. It's trying to, it was narrow, so it's trying to create these and the linear fill does that. So sometimes you wanna,
You can probably get another one in between those two. No, go back up. Keep
okay,
going.
I'm just fixing these spacing right because in order to add, I'm gonna shift. Let's see.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I can move that over a little bit. And then I can probably, like you said, get one more stone
Mm-hmm.
in there like that.
And then over top of that, put a black one.
Uh-huh.
Probably two black ones on each side of that one by itself.
Okay, I'm trying to get that kind of stay in that curve kind of is what I'm trying to do.
No, you're doing good.
Uh,
That's lined up great.
and this is why when y'all say, "Have you posted it yet, Tanya?" I'd be like, "No, I ain't got there. I ain't got there yet." Because this is what I'm doing. I be trying to clean it up. Okay. And then yeah, we'll put one right in here.
Yeah.
And I'll do that when I release the black ones since they'll be the same color stone.
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes what happens is it doesn't always see like the ones that we added, like this one, even though I turned it yellow, sometimes it doesn't always see that stone as being a yellow stone when we go to select by color, but we'll see what happens. Okay, so let's zoom back out just a little bit. What do y'all think? I think that looks good.
Mm-hmm.
This one area right here just keeps messing with me. This is not. Okay. I think that was it. And I think if I can move this over just a little bit to the left, to the right, that'll give that stone a little bit more space. Okay. All right, I'm happy with that. I'm not gonna keep messing with it. Okay, so we got those. I think what we said we would probably do maybe the black up in here.
Mm-hmm.
Just put some black, maybe 1 or 2 black stones over in here. Oh, why did it just look like we could have put a red stone right here?
Mhm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So we missed a stone right here.
You
All
can
right.
just add it when you're making your shirt, honey.
Yeah, but I need the hole. You could do that, but then but remember, if I were gonna sell this template to somebody,
Okay,
Right.
right.
I don't want them to have to remember to put a hole in there.
I
So,
got you.
but yeah, if it was just me by myself, you're right. But since I have some red stones kind of already out here, I'll just go ahead and add it now. And then I'll just go back in, and when I'll select by color again, so I make sure to get that stone. Okay. It's
Mm-hmm.
all right. So now we can go back in and we can oops, excuse me. Select the color.
Tell me about this one, because when I get mine done, I got some white, neon white and white opal for the eyes. I'm gonna be so excited to see that.
Oh, okay. White opal. I don't have any white opal stones.
And neon white. Yep, I'm excited.
I've got neon white, and I use the neon white on that one where I did with the tongue. I use the neon white to do the teeth. And
Did
I
you
really
release
like
that one yet?
I really like how that came out. What'd you say, honey?
Did you do that one yet? Put it out for purchase?
I hadn't, you mean the template?
Mm-hmm.
No, I hadn't. I stoned it, but I hadn't done all the instructions and all of that for that yet to release it. I'm waiting for you guys was on the class with me to do yours. I want to see what you guys stuff looks like when you're done.
You know what? I'm learning so much from this one class, even though I'm not doing it with you, because the first class that I did with you, I missed a lot I must have. And I'm like, I'm sitting here saying, dang, you gotta go back and undo what you did, or either just start from scratch and delete, because I missed so much.
Well, that's why again, I said practice, 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 practice.
And I
And that's what
let me see, I think I got like 6 or 7 versions of that butterfly that I didn't put on the jacket yet.
Uh-oh. All
And I
right.
want to, and I'm still gonna work on it.
Well,
So,
good.
Jackie, was that what that said? I'm not giving up.
All right, we're gonna get you there. But now, okay, so anybody have any thoughts about this one little yellow stone right here? Because I'm feeling something like it shouldn't be there. What do you think? This one little right here underneath this eye, do you think
Because I think if you add 2 more, it might be okay.
it's like if I add one on this side of it?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm gonna release the compound path and do that.
Mhm.
What do you think?
And I think,
One
Or
more.
one more?
yeah.
Uh-oh.
You don't have any time?
Nah, what do you think? Yeah.
You better
I would
use
say
that
adjust-
alt key.
Huh?
You better use that alt key.
I know, but I'm now I'm adding these stones and I don't know that let me see.
I
I
don't
would
know. I
say
think
adjust
that's
the
some people
stone.
that might be.
What'd you say, Anita?
Adjust the stones right there.
Just kind of shift them over a little bit.
Yeah, that looks okay. And since you add more stones over here in this beak where there's one yellow section is there, the white eye, you could add like 2 under there.
Here?
Yeah.
Well,
No.
then,
Yeah, right.
here.
Yep.
All right, Miss Jackie. Use my alt. It don't. Uh-oh. See, you gotta be. Can I get? I don't think I'm gonna get another one in there. So, might be one of those equal spacing type of things. Let's see what I can do. Okay. Anybody see anything else? I'm trying to see if I can stick this stone right here.
That looks good.
Okay. All right. Okay, so the white. What is these rhinestones? And I don't see anything more than the white that I think we need to do. Anybody see anything that requires a bunch of edits to? Because I think if you try to stick a stone right here, you're going to lose your curve, your perceived curve. I'm just going to go ahead and group those stones and make those a compound path. And then the only other piece we have left is this what was our black. So I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing, release the right. Okay, so now we talked about, we're going to add maybe a stone right in here. Uh-oh. And I'm probably gonna shift some stones around in here. And I'm gonna create. I don't think I'm gonna get another stone in there. And maybe one more. Yep. Right in here, maybe? Or does that need to? Maybe.
No, I think that's good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
me,
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry, I thought I heard you say something, Anita.
I think it looks good too.
Like just leave it like that?
Yes.
All right, and then maybe see if I can get one piece right in here. See if we can round out this eye a little bit. down here at the bottom. And then maybe, I think this needs to be shifted up a little bit. Let me zoom this in. I think we have some space in here. We can. Oh, man. Okay. Oh. Um, uh-oh. Okay. I think if we keep messing with it, it's just gonna be. Oh, there we go. Oh, wait a minute. I think I need something right in there. And now if I do that, I'm gonna do that. I wanna do that. And move this over. All right. What y'all think?
It looks awesome.
Mhm.
It look like I Woody?
Looks
Yeah.
like Woody to me.
All right. I'm happy. I'm happy.
Me too.
I think that looks pretty good. I mean, you know, and so now we just need to group those black stones together. And I think see, now I got different, these are not the same color. Damn it. Okay. Let me group these together first. And then group the other. Group those together. And then what I'll do is I will change them all to be the same color this time. Oh, wait a minute. Did anybody bring, yeah, that got grouped. Okay, so that, and change that to a color. All right. And now we can make it a compound path, and now it'll all be grouped together. So now we have our layers to create our, you know, our when we get ready to go to cut it.
We forgot to release that red rhinestone though.
That one red one right there. We added that, remember we added that stone? So we had to go
Right.
back and group it. Let me just,
When you took the blue and the red off, that looked just like Donald Duck.
did it really?
Yeah.
Well, maybe that'll be the next one we do. We do all the Warner Brothers characters. You know,
I don't mind.
and then we all be going to jail.
I'm only
Well, we won't be going to jail if we make it for ourselves.
right, exactly.
As long as we're not selling
Exactly.
it, right?
And that gives us practice.
Exactly. But where's the fun in that?
Go not to sell in public.
Exactly.
Like, but where's the fun in that, right?
Family, sis, and your friends.
That's right.
Right.
Exactly. I like the way you ladies think. All right. And group all those red stones back together. And make them the compound path. And hopefully this time, yes, they did. All right, so we're done. So our rhinestone template is done. I know you all know how to create your layers and so forth and so on. Does anybody now I tell you a tip, excuse me. And the reason I figured this out is because sometimes this is what I do, right? And sometimes when you go out and you buy other people's designs, right? Sometimes you know, when they give you the design that's in the layers, just like we have them now, right? With all of the circles, you actually can be giving folk the opportunity to take parts of your design and piece them together to do other things in other designs, right? And if you don't want to do that, right, you don't want to, you know, you worked hard to create your rhinestone template, and you don't necessarily want people to be taking apart your design to be recreating something else with your design. One of the ways that you can keep people from doing that is when you go to create the actual like layer that you're going to cut with your flock. So let's say, for instance, these are all my layers. And I'm going to take this piece right here. Normally what you would do is you probably would take this, put it on the mat, lay down your flock, send it to the machine and cut it, right? Okay. What you can do is you can do kind of like when you're in Cricut or you're working with vinyl, like permanent vinyl, whatever. And you know how they talk about creating a weed box, right? So you would take a box and you would just draw this box around your design. And I send it to the back. And I also do this sometimes just to minimize like my flock, so that, and I get nice clean square pieces after they cut. But I would just come out here and just kind of size that up a little bit, right? So this would be like my simulated piece of flock that I would cut for this layer. And then what I would do is I would just select both pieces, the box in the back plus the stones, and come over here to the transform panel. And I would do a subtract all. And after it subtracts all, when it finishes, just give it a minute. When it's done, right, it just leaves you the flock, like a piece of flock, right? But see, at that point, nobody can go back and take parts of this and do anything else with it other than use it for the design that it was intended. Okay, so if you're ever thinking about designing templates for resale, you might want to implore this little tip. The other thing that it also allows you to be able to do is you just can give the person the dimensions of this piece of this background piece, and you just give them those dimensions instead of these dimensions, right? You just give them the dimensions of this, and just remember that when you're doing that, if you're thinking about people importing their designs into Cricut Design Space, you don't want the width of the design of this background piece to be wider than 11.5 inches. Okay. But that's what I would do. And I also find that for some reason, when I do this, and I learned, and I really only figured this, I did this because my flock cuts better when I do this. Because I don't like to pull the backing off of my flock and lay my flock on directly onto the mat, because I don't want to be scraping all those dots off afterwards, right? So I like to cut on the backing, but I find when I do it like this, when I peel the flock away from the backing, I don't get as many holes left. They tend to cut out better. So you can try it. Like I said, if you're having issues with your flock and you're not always getting it to cut through good, try this and see if that helps. But it's worked for me. And then, like I said, I just started doing it because I realized that I take other people's designs sometimes and use parts of it to create a brand new design. And I mean, I guess.
So a question that I have is that when we get ready to cut, and just like you said, to draw that piece around, do we have to do that for each piece and
Each
layer it?
Yes. Because technically,
Oh,
now,
okay.
because technically, you know, each part of your design that's a different color should be a separate layer, right? But there are times when, I'm gonna go ahead and put this back together again. So there are times when you could cut something, and depending on how you cut it, like it might be such that I don't know if there's any parts of this that I could actually leave, because when you get ready to go brush these stones in, you know, if you go to brush, you know, like maybe I would take maybe I could do this, and I might could put this and these two layers together, right? Even though these stones are kind of close, you know, you could tape those off, right? You could tape those pieces off so that when you go to brush in, you can brush the red in and then remove your painter's tape and then brush in the black pieces. And then that way, you're utilizing parts of the flock that would have gotten, you know, cut away, you know, it would have, you know, it would have been useless pieces of flock anyway. But at least this, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, because I always thought
Because otherwise you're going to have to cut that as one separate piece of flock.
Right. So I always thought that you cut out the whole image as one, and then when you're putting the stones in, you use the tape over the different areas.
You can, and I know a lot of people do that to save flock. And for those of you who have done this, like I say, I just know that I'm not the gentlest of when I'm doing things, right? And after I've brushed in like 2/3 of the design and went to go remove the painter's tape and lifted it, and then them stones would lift out of place, and then I have to try to go back and brush them in again. I wouldn't want to do that. So I'd much rather just go ahead and just cut the flock, you know, try to piece the design together in such a way that I minimize the amount of flock that I use. But if the layer, if it requires a separate layer, then I just go ahead and I just cut the layer. And then I just layer it in when I go to put it on my shirt.
So when you took the beak out and you just had the inside, the black pieces, the little small black pieces, and the way that it, like the eyes and the inside of the mouth, when you get ready to cut that out, do you arrange it on your flock, or do you leave it just like it is? Because to see that you can waste a lot of flock.
Yeah, I mean, you do wind up, I mean, like, so if I were gonna cut this on flock, right, I'm thinking the best way for me to minimize this is I'm gonna need 3 pieces of flock. Okay, because I think what I could do is I could leave this red and the black together, right? And what I would probably do is when I got ready to brush this in, I would probably brush in the black first, right? Because it's the smallest part of what needs to get brushed in. And then I would brush in the red, and then I would come in here and I would gently brush in the red for the mouth. So I wouldn't move many of the black stones. Some of them might move, but I just go ahead and put those back together, right? So that would be, I would probably cut this as one layer.
Okay.
Then I think I probably could get away with doing this and cut this as one layer, right? Because I could go in and I could brush in the eyes first. Or I might brush in the yellow first. It just depends. Like I would start brushing in at this piece right here, and then kind of come down below it and brush in this part, and then come back and do the eyes. And then I might just manually place stones or whatever, but I might cut this all as one piece so that I'm using up as much flock as I can without wasting it, but still giving myself enough room to be able to brush in the stones without having to take forever to brush them in.
Okay.
You know, but and But I guess if I were, but the other thing might be if I were making this for somebody, like if I was selling this template, I might would just cut the bullet and just go ahead and make the four different, what is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different layers.
Uh-huh.
And because we don't know what other people's skill level is for layering, and you know, the more layers you have to layer in, the harder it is. And so, I think if you just, well, I don't know, maybe for the newbie person, I might make the 3 layers and be done with it. And I like I said, I have to give it some thought. But for myself, I probably would try to minimize this and do this as 3. Like, I don't think I would try to put the blue, because when I go to brush those yellows in, they're gonna get all over in this blue section, and I'm not gonna want to pick those blue stones out piece by piece. I wouldn't want to do that. So yeah, three layers for myself, and maybe, you know, maybe 5 for the, if I sold it as a template.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's what I would do. But does anybody have, like, I mean, we can go over some, you know, we can, if you have any questions and you want to touch on something else that, you know, that, like I said, I'm not perfect. I know fonts, sometimes with some people, fonts is a thing that, you know, they want most help with, because they're and such, and we can go over and we can talk about fonts. You know, but that way, you know, again, if there's something that we didn't cover or something you want me to go back over that you didn't quite catch, if you want me to just go over that again, I'm happy to do that. Like I said, I don't have anywhere to be. I'm home. So I'm on as long as you ladies, you know, want to stay on and talk about this.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm just gonna have to do the replay because, like I said, my machine and everything was real wonky.
Okay. And you always know how to reach me, Jackie. Like I said, you know, if you get through it or whatever, and it's still not, you know, doing what you think, what you wanted to do or whatever, don't please, none of you, don't ever hesitate to reach out to me. You know, like I said, I will answer any question. I will get on a call with you. I will get on a Zoom with you. We can walk through it, because like I said, at the end of the day, I really mean what I say is I want everybody to be successful in being able to do this. Like I said, I'm still learning. I'm still learning. And as I continue to keep playing around in the software, I learn something new. I was playing around with a design the other day. I'll bring it. Let me see if I can bring it up right quick. Where's the one that
I'm still playing around with that stem.
Are you? Okay. Let me see. I'm open. I was working on been working on some, come on. No.